The change of investor sentiment could be illustrated in the Dow this past week when we had a kicker type signal, or at least a gap up, and the magnitude of the move not only was above the T line but closed above the 50-day moving average, which had been acting as a resistance level. This uptrend continues. Today we saw a little bit of indecisiveness, but the market's already moved up quite a few hundred points over the last week. It's not unusual to expect that we might see some profit taking. So the Dow has a very good signal in the sense that this doji that was formed today showed indecisiveness. And if we see it trade back below the low of today, it's pretty much telling us that there's some profit taking probably back to the T line. However, on the other hand, notice the transportation index up 178 points today, telling us that there's still some very strong implications that the economy is going to get better. Usually the transportation index is the first signal of that because the transportation stocks are anticipating a lot more movement of goods if the economy gets better. So this uptrend in the indexes is probably still in progress. We just have to kind of expect some profit taking along the way. And the DRYS chart, Dry Ship Inc., is kind of the chart that shows what happens when we have these big breakouts. That tells you there's been a drastic change of investor sentiment, and we can't even make the chart big enough. We can see the little slow curve here. But notice what's illustrated on this chart. This stock went from about $4.70 3 days ago to close to $43 in the last 3 days, up almost 1,000%. Now, did everybody catch this? No, but there was a few people that did in the chat room. However, the important illustration from this chart is the magnitude of the buying. For the last 4 months, we would not have seen investors committing funds with such vigor because of the indecisive nature of the market prior to this time. This type of move shows us that investors are now willing to commit back to the markets no matter where it is. And we can identify which other sectors are acting well. The retail stocks are starting to perform well, as we can see in our recommendation over the last few days in BZUN. The same scenario in Abercrombie Fitch. Look at the left-right combo after a series of dojis, a gap up. Our recommendation on this one is based upon coming back up into a gap area up in the low 20s. So we can identify very quickly which stocks are showing the most strength and which sectors we should have a little bit more money committed to. And that same analysis is in the biotech area. Labu is acting strong. We picked this stock, CLVS, because it had a doji gap up, your best friend, and it broke out through this downtrending channel, giving us the possibility of having another move like this. Once again, the graphics of candlesticks merely illustrates where the investor sentiment is coming into or out of sectors with the most strength. That'll be it. We'll see you in the chat rooms.